Three new pass catchers in the NFL as the NFL draft continues on. I'm Jamie Eisberg. That's Dave Richer. We're taking a look at Brock Bowers to the Raiders at number 13, Brian Thomas Jr. to the Jaguars as part of a trade with the Vikings, number 23, and the Chiefs trade up to number 28 from the Buffalo Bills, no less, to get Xavier Worthy. Buffalo, we thought was going to take a wide receiver in the first round. They trade out, and they allow the Chiefs to get the fastest player from the NFL Combine. 4.21 40-yard dash for Xavier Worthy. We'll talk about all three of those guys right now. So, Dave, let's start with Brock Bowers going to the Raiders. A little bit of a surprise. I don't know if anybody had that mocked, but they get another pass catcher and their playmaker. They don't really have the quarterback that we love for Brock Bowers with either Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell as the projected starter. But Bowers, is he going to be a top 12 tight end for you in redraft leagues?
He will. I think that he's going to be used enough in that offense this year to warrant being drafted as a top 12 tight end. Top 10 tight end, yeah, probably he makes the cut there too. I would take him ahead of Hawkinson as long as Hawkinson is off to start the season. We know he's recovering from a major injury. But if Hawkinson makes a miraculous recovery and he looks good and he's ready to roll week one, I'm probably going to take Hawkinson ahead of Bowers. And I don't think it's that much of a shock. And a lot of it has to do with the quarterbacks that are in Las Vegas. Neither one of them were downfield attackers. Neither one of them had a high ADOT. And both of them are going to prefer throwing to Devontae Adams as long as he's there and not Brock Bowers. And one of the things that we were a little bit hopeful for with Bowers was that he'd land with a team where he'd have a shot to be the number one target getter. This year, that's not going to happen. Down the line, maybe it happens. I'm sure the Raiders looked at his game and said, that dude reminds us of Travis Kelce. And Kelce's been kicking our butt for years. Let's get somebody who can make an impact like Travis Kelce, or better yet, like George Kittle, because that's really who Bowers looks like to me is Kittle. In time, he's going to end up being pretty much a consistent number two target getter for the Raiders. Eventually, the Raiders will get a quarterback that we'll like. It's not going to be this year. I wouldn't have high expectations for him. A bunch of other tight ends that I was hoping to have ranked behind Bowers will now be ranked ahead of Bowers in 2024 redraft.
All right, he'll be top 10 for me. I'll probably put him at 9 ahead of David Njoku just because I don't love what Njoku did with Deshaun Watson last year. So he'll be ahead of Hawkinson because I don't think Hawkinson's going to be at 100% even if he does come back to start the season. Start week one of the season. Hopefully he's back early in the year from the knee injury he suffered at the end of last year. In terms of what the Raiders look like, we'll talk about that right now. Look, quarterback is not ideal, but I don't think necessarily you have to be a significant downfield thrower to make Bowers successful. Hopefully his immediate routes, his short to intermediate routes will be productive enough to help his fantasy value. And, you know, the scenario that we've talked about for years of rookie tight ends don't make an impact. Well, you throw that out after what Sam Laporta did last season, even Dalton Kincaid in spots when there were some injuries in Buffalo. So he has the ability to be a top 10 tight end. Is he going to be one like Laporta? I don't think he's going to score as many touchdowns, but I think he will be second on the team in targets behind Devontae Adams. I think he will be more involved than Jacoby Myers. And we'll find out what happens to their sort of personnel grouping because we had some expectations for Michael Mayer as a potential sleeper this year. That gets thrown out the window completely because he's now number 2 on the depth chart at the tight end position. And at best, he could be 4th on the team in targets. But we know the one thing about the Raiders based on what we saw last year, and that could be personnel, that could be how they want to operate. They wanted to run the ball a lot. They showed that even with, Zamir White and how he took over for Josh Jacobs. So run first offense. This is not the best situation for Bowers, at least right away, but still a lot of potential based on what he profiles as.